Hey everyone, how you doing? It's Craig Campbell from Pastor Craig's Vintage Card, part number 16 of this NFL hybrid set. Cards from 1970 through 73 only. One card for every player that had a card. And today on this sheet here, we've got some interesting stories. There's a disgusting story. And this is the first time there's a blank up here. Doug Cunningham, his only card is a 1972 Topps, and it is a high number card. The 72 Topps high numbers in football are extremely difficult to find, and when you do find them, they are usually pretty expensive. And Doug Cunningham's card typically goes for about $20 to $30. I've been looking for one. Obviously, I have been unsuccessful. So this is the first card that I don't have. Doug Cunningham, 1972 with the 49ers. It's a high number and rather difficult to get. So let me do a little fold over here. Zoom this in just a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. There we go. All right. Gary Quazzo, quarterback with the Minnesota Vikings on this 1971 card. And interesting, Quazzo and Bill Curry have a connection. Gary Quazzo, 1971, his rookie card is a 68 Topps. He also had cards issued in 71 and 73. He was undrafted out of Virginia. And he signed with the Colts and was a backup to Hall of Fame quarterback Johnny Unitas. No shame in that, being Unitas' backup. He requested a trade, and he got traded to the Saints. He became the first starting quarterback in New Orleans Saints history, Gary Quazzo. He got traded to the Vikings in 1968, and he was a starting quarterback for the Vikings in 1970. Then he got traded to the Cardinals for the 72 season. Gary ended up suiting up for 82 games. He started 40. He threw for 7,400 yards, but with 42 touchdowns and 55 interceptions. Gary Quazzo. This guy here, Mike Current, it's his rookie card. He had cards issued between 73 and 76. He was drafted out of Ohio State with the 58th pick by the Broncos. He got traded to the Dolphins for 2 games, and then Miami traded him back to the Broncos. He played for the Broncos from 67 to 75. He was with the expansion Buccaneers in 76. Ended his career with the Dolphins in 77 through 79. He was an AFL All-Star in 1969. He suited up for 169 games, and he started 165. He had 7 fumble recoveries in his career. Now for the disgusting part. Mike Current committed suicide in 2012. He shot himself in the head with a 20-gauge shotgun. This was after he was charged with multiple child molestation charges. And pretty disgusting situation. He's got a card. He's in here. I wanted just to make it public. Unfortunately, it's something that happens in all walks of life, no matter your background. And Mike Current took his own life instead of facing the public charges and giving the families, I don't know, some answers, I guess. It's unfortunate. I'll just leave it at that. And move on to Bill Curry here. Bill Curry. He is with the Oilers here. It's his rookie card. Again, one of those weird things. This is Bill's rookie card, and he also had a card issued in 74. But Bill was drafted by the Packers in 1964 out of Georgia Tech. As a rookie, he was an NFL champion. He started Super Bowl I as a center. And he still didn't have a card until 1973, 9 years after he broke in as a Super Bowl champion even. He was unprotected by Lombardi in 1967, and the Saints selected him in the expansion draft. And it's interesting, Bill Curry then was traded to the Colts for 3 draft picks. One included Hall of Famer Bubba Smith. But the other guy that got traded in that trade was Gary Quazzo. So Curry got traded for Quazzo, and the draft picks, one of which included Bubba Smith, a very bad trade by the Saints, to say the least. And Bill became a starter for the Colts 1968 NFL Championship team, which they lost to Super Bowl III of the Jets. But Bill did end up winning Super Bowl V with the Colts. And the Colts team ownership was in such disarray that when Bill got traded to the Oilers, he found out about the trade after receiving a collect call. In other words, Bill had to pay the charges from the general manager of the Colts. How terrible is that the GM of the Baltimore Colts calls you to tell you that you're traded, but he calls you on a collect call where you've got to pay for the charges? What a backward situation. Bill suffered a catastrophic leg injury on a hit, not a dirty hit, from Merlin Olsen in 1973, and he ended his career. He retired in 1975. Now, for those people a little bit younger in age, you may remember the name Bill Curry, because you know what? He was a head coach at Georgia Tech, Alabama, Kentucky, and finished his career as a head coach at Georgia State. But Bill Curry, interesting. Super Bowl I champion, Super Bowl V champion, played in Super Bowl III, and got traded, and the Colts give him a collect call to let him know. What a bunch of bums. Sorry about that, but that's the truth. Mike Curtis, this guy here, his nickname was Animal. He was a great football player. His rookie card is a 1969 Topps. He had cards from 69 to 72. He was drafted by the Colts with the 14th pick in 1965, and he played for the Colts from 65 to 75. Was with the expansion Seahawks in 76, and then the Redskins 77 to 78. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler, all of them with the Colts. He was named NFL Defensive Player of the Year after the 1970 season, and he played in Super Bowl V, helping the Colts beat the Cowboys. He was a defensive captain for the Colts. And like I said, after 12 games in 1975, he had knee surgery, and he got left unprotected, and the Seahawks picked him up in the expansion draft. And he started all 14 games and was their defensive captain for the expansion Seattle Seahawks. He got waived by the Seahawks. He signed with the Redskins. Started 11 games in 77. However, in 78, he only started 2. That knee injury started catching up to him pretty bad. He retired after playing in 166 games, starting 128. He ended up with 25 interceptions, 22 sacks, 10 fumble recoveries. He scored 4 defensive touchdowns. And Mike was one of the most feared defenders of his era, and that is no joke. He was a tough player. And as many players, Mike struggled with memory loss at the end of his life, and it resulted from traumatic head injuries, and he died peacefully in April of 2020. This guy over here, Carroll Dale, one of my earliest Packer favorites. I remember him playing at the end of his career. His rookie card is a 1962. He had cards issued in 64, then from 68 through 70, and 72 through 73. He was drafted in 1960 with the 86th pick. And he played for the Rams for 5 years, from 60 to 64. He got traded to Green Bay, and he played on 3 straight NFL championships, 65, 66, and 67. And he ended up playing for the Vikings in 73. I remember that. He retired after that season. He had 438 catches for 8,200 yards and 52 touchdowns. He was a 3-time Pro Bowl selection. He played in 189 games. He started 170. And Carroll Dale was just a good all-around player. Dan Dara. I always remember this card as a kid with that hair. Dan Dara. I want to zoom in on these guys. Interesting story here. Dan. That's his only card. It's his rookie card. He was the 13th round pick out of the powerhouse college of William & Mary by the Buffalo Bills. He played under Marv Levy at William & Mary. He was a backup quarterback to Jack Kemp, and he only started when he was injured. He suited up in 17 games over 3 seasons. He started 11 games. In those 11 games, Dan's record was 1 win, 10 losses, and no ties. During his career, he had 127 completions for 1,353 yards. And get this, he threw for 4 touchdowns and 22 interceptions. That's not a good way to stay in the NFL. Dan ended up becoming a lawyer in Pittsburgh, and I guess he was an environmental lawyer pretty successfully in Pittsburgh. And he died last year. Dan Dara. Ben Davidson. Big bad Ben Davidson. It's his last card. His rookie card was a 65 tops. He had cards issued in 66, 67, and then in 69. Ben was drafted out of Washington with the 46th pick by the Giants in 1961, and he got traded to the Packers. Good move. You know why? Because he played in the 1961 NFL championship game with Green Bay against the Giants. The Packers won 37-0. So that was a good trade for Ben. He got traded to the Redskins in 62 and 63, and then he got traded to the Raiders. He played there from 64 to 71, and he was a perfect fit for that Oakland Raider team. He was an AFL All-Star in 66 and 68. Ben Davidson, he was the perfect villain. That's right, perfect villain. He was known as a cheap shot artist. He was a very dirty player. Very dirty. As a matter of fact, against the Kansas City Chiefs, if I remember right, the story goes Ben Davidson, he speared Lynn Dawson. Lynn Dawson was down on the ground. The play was over. Ben Davidson was 6'7" and like 280, and he speared Lynn Dawson right in the back with his helmet. And the play went for a first down. According to the NFL rules at that time, they had to replay the down. And the Chiefs didn't pick up the conversion on third down. They punted the ball. The Raiders ended up kicking a field goal, and they ended up winning the game, knocking the Chiefs out of the playoffs. So Big Ben spears Lynn Dawson, personal foul. Instead of the yards gained plus 15, they had to play the play over. The rest is history. The rules were changed after that. But yeah, Ben, he was a dirty player, a very dirty player. He appeared in many, many Miller Lite commercials, and as well a lot of different TV shows, Chips, Happy Days, The Longest Yard. He was in just a lot of shows, and he was always portrayed, as a gruff, big guy. And Ben Davidson, he had a handlebar mustache. This picture doesn't show it too good. But yeah, Ben Davidson, when I say he's a villain, a dirty player, I'm just telling you the truth. Henry Davis, the Steelers, that's his rookie card. This 1973. He had other cards issued in 74. He was drafted in 1968 with the 288th pick by the Giants. He played with them from 68 to 69. He played with the Steelers from 70 to 73. He was selected to the 1972 Pro Bowl. He played in 83 games, starting 52, and he played every single game in 72 and 73 with the Steelers. He had 4 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries. Henry died in June of 2000. So there we go, guys. This is an interesting page. And a couple of great players and a couple of guys that were not very good. And one guy that was a misfit in society, evidently. And but, that's life. There's creeps in all walks of life. And we'll just leave it at that. But interesting story for him. 110-1 with 4 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. Yeah, probably a much better lawyer than he was a quarterback. But interesting page here, guys. I enjoyed putting these together again. I hope you enjoyed this as well. If you did, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And until next time, keep on collecting.